Do you want to know how to promote children's social and emotional competence? Well, you're not alone. Many people do. I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach parenting, childhood development, relationship building, all through the lens of self-government. And in this video, we're going to be talking about social and emotional competence. In this video, I'm going to share with you some stories from my life about social development, and then also give you some things that you can do with your children to help foster that social and emotional competence that you're looking for. I was raised by a public speaker and an actor. He was a play director, so he always put me on the stage. From the time that I was very little, I was in different musical plays and things to try to get me to find my voice, to step out of my comfort zone. And this environment actually turned me into a person that I had no idea I would become. I ended up making friends with all different people of all different ages, and I could talk with anyone. In fact, my father would constantly tell me, "Nicholeen, you have wisdom beyond your years." And he would tell me things like, "You have confidence to burn," not realizing maybe that what he had given me in this life of being on stage with him there, right? Not abandoning me, not putting me in Hollywood or anything like that, but him just being part of this environment, but giving me things that would continually stretch me and get me to communicate with people of all ages and developmental levels was actually just what I needed to become really social. Now, I didn't develop all of those social skills from the people around me, however. I developed those social skills from my father, watching him in action with all of those people, and then putting it into practice with those people myself. There are three different ways that a person learns social. You can either learn social from your parents, from your family. People have been there, done that, and know you the best. Or you can learn social from same-age peers, which I think a lot of people think is how you learn social. And then you can also learn social from the media or books. So things that you read, other stories, the things you see about other people's lives. What is the best, most proven, tried and true way to learn social development and emotional development? It's actually with the family. And if you think about it, that makes sense, because people who make stories, that's just for entertainment. It might even be to get a person to think along the lines of a certain ideology. And peers, well, that's kind of like the blind leading the blind, especially if they're same age peers. So parents definitely have the child's best interest at heart. They know what the child needs next and how they need to stretch. And they can push them in that direction better than anybody else and make it feel like it's safe and natural to do so. That's certainly what my father did for me. So if the parents are going to be the trainers, then remember the point of the books and the media and the children that are same age is to practice and get reinforcement. This means you're going to be choosing your movies and media and book selections carefully to make sure that they match the social lessons that you want to teach your children. Here's another story about me. I am notorious for previewing content before my children see it. I'm talking sometimes even G-rated movies. And this is because I don't want to bring movies to my little children that are full of attitude problem when I do not want them to socially and emotionally develop attitude problems. Why would I encourage them with a movie that seems fun or even is humorous? No, I'm going to wait till they're older until they can discern that that's not the right way and why it's been put into a movie. So I made sure that I picked media choices that matched the social and emotional development that I was doing at my home. Another thing is that I made sure that my children knew their friend time was a time to practice their social and emotional strength and to develop a little bit more of an understanding of how to apply their skills to different situations. But this is just practice time. Sure, we can learn from our practices, but the main principles always came from mom and dad. I have a few more points to share with you, but before we get to that, hit the subscribe button. There are so many videos on this channel related to emotional intelligence and emotional and behavioral regulation, as well as social development. You are not going to want to miss those. So subscribe so that when they come out, you will see them. One of the main things that helps a person become socially and emotionally strong, intelligent, and influential is actually what type of a bond they have with their parents and what level of social skills the parents have. So if the parents are properly socially developed and they bond well with their children and do a lot of deliberate training with their children, then their children will usually turn out to be just as social or emotionally strong as the parents are. So if the parents are dealing with a lot of emotional issues, then guess what happens to the children? The majority of the time. I know there are some anomalies in this. Sometimes you meet someone who is completely different from their parents, but usually they have made a conscious decision not to follow a certain behavior pattern for one reason or another. The majority of children see the way their parents are as normal, and they decide to follow after the example of their parents. If you want your children to have a trait socially or emotionally that you do not have, then you're going to want to work on developing that characteristic for yourself so that they can model it from you. If you're lacking in some way, bring it to their attention. Tell them, I'm not good at this, I'm working on it, but I know that you can get better at it because you're younger, so let me help you know which direction to go and we'll work on it together. You don't have to be perfect, but just let them know the direction everybody's headed and what truly makes a socially and emotionally strong person. This leads me to something else that's so important, and that's open discussion, deliberate discussion about what helps a person be prepared socially and emotionally. Talk about these things. Don't just try to through the back door, get your child to change the way they process the world or interact with other people. That's actually called manipulation. Instead, just be straightforward. Tell them the lessons they need, help them make plans for their success, and then follow through. Part of social and emotional intelligence is having the proper communication skills for the job. So a person who can communicate, who can stay in their prefrontal cortex when they're talking to other people and not go to the emotional all the time and get hung up there, is usually a person who can have great influence and who understands other people while also getting problems solved at the same time. These are great social and emotional intelligence skills. So the way that I taught my children and my foster children to develop these types of skills is by teaching them 4 basic skills for success. The 4 basic skills that I teach in the Teaching Self-Government Parenting course for children are following instructions, accepting no answers and criticism, accepting consequences, and disagreeing appropriately. Those 4 basic skills each have a skill set attached to them, and they help the brain format for solving problems in non-emotional ways. When a person learns these 4 basic skills, that takes care of 99% of their behavioral problems. Social and emotional intelligence actually are deliberately learned. Either that or the person just starts to model what they've seen around them. So choose right now to be deliberate with your child, to not fall into the traps that come from just letting things happen around them. Take this seriously and you will have much more positive results. If you've enjoyed this video, there is a video you're going to want to see next. The video is called The Expectation Trap versus the Cycle for Success. This is a full class designed to help parents learn the things that they can do not to fall into emotional and behavioral traps, as well as help their children see how to avoid traps and get on that pathway to the cycle for success. Click on the link to The Expectation Trap versus the Cycle for Success now.